The night she walked away, the palace grew silent, too silent for a place that once echoed with her laughter. Every corridor remembered her footsteps, every breeze still carried the scent of her perfume. The moonlight touched his face as he stood by the window, watching the gates close behind her. It wasn't a goodbye spoken in words, it was felt in the heaviness of the air, in the ache of a soul that knew it was losing something irreplaceable. She walked away quietly, but her absence screamed louder than any storm he had ever known. He had promised the world that nothing could shake him, not war, not betrayal, not loss. But her leaving broke him in ways no crown could mend. For years, he had been trained to control every emotion, to remain composed even when chaos surrounded him. Yet, the moment she turned away, the prince became a man again, human, fragile, broken. He whispered her name like a prayer, hoping it would bring her back, but only the desert wind answered him, cold and unfeeling. Her name became the rhythm of his solitude. He would write it on the pages of his poetry, hide it between metaphors and verses, pretending it was just art. But every reader could feel it, the ache, the longing, the truth that love had once lived in his royal heart. She walked away, he'd write, but she took my peace with her. And every poem was a confession he could never speak aloud. The world saw his smile, the ink saw his sorrow. The palace still looked the same, but nothing inside him did. The throne, once a symbol of pride, now felt like a cage. The gold that shimmered in every hall no longer impressed him, it reminded him of everything he had lost. For what good was royalty when the one you loved no longer looked back? He realized then, power could command loyalty, but not love. And she, the only one who ever saw him beyond the title, had chosen freedom over forever. There were days he'd stand in the royal stables, his horse restless beneath his touch, his eyes lost on the horizon. He remembered how she used to ride beside him, fearless and free, her laughter mixing with the desert wind. Now, that same wind cut through him, whispering her name like a ghost that would never leave. He wanted to forget, but her memory had carved itself into him, too deep to erase, too sacred to bury. Nights were the cruelest. When the palace slept, his heart stayed awake. He wandered through the gardens where she once walked, tracing the paths of her laughter. The fountains still sang, but their music only reminded him of her voice. The stars above seemed cruel, they watched her leave and yet offered him no comfort. And so he began talking to them, whispering her name into the night, hoping the heavens would tell her how much he still loved her. He tried to move on, to wear the mask of strength the world expected. But every smile was borrowed, every word rehearsed. He attended royal events, greeted diplomats, rode in parades, but his eyes betrayed him. They carried the ache of a love unfinished, a vow broken not by choice but by fate. When she left, she didn't just take his happiness, she took the part of him that believed in forever. There were rumors, of course, the kind that only grow around those who love too deeply. They said he had found someone new, that time had healed his wounds. But the truth lived quietly behind his poems. In every verse, she was there, not as a name, but as a shadow. Not as a memory, but as a pulse. He had mastered the art of hiding heartbreak in beauty, of turning pain into poetry. And though she was gone, she ruled every line he wrote. He often thought about the last moment they shared, the silence, the tears neither dared to shed. She had said nothing, her eyes had spoken everything. He wanted to stop her, to beg her to stay, but pride and pain locked his tongue. Love demands courage, and in that moment, even a prince lost his. The carriage doors closed, and with them, an entire chapter of his soul was sealed forever. He still remembers the color of that evening sky, a soft, burning gold melting into blue as she disappeared into the horizon. The sun set that day, but it felt like more than light was leaving him, it was his very breath, his purpose, his peace. Every dusk since then reminded him of her. When he stands on the palace balcony, watching the last rays of sun touch the sand, he feels her, the ghost of her laughter, the warmth of her gaze. Sometimes he whispers her name just to feel the ache it brings, because pain, at least, means she's still a part of him. Her name has become his secret anthem. He speaks it only in silence, writes it only in the hidden corners of his journals. It's strange how a single name can command so much power, how it can rule a heart that once ruled nations. Even when he tries to pray, her memory interrupts his words, not as a sin, but as a truth too sacred to ignore. He has learned that love is not erased by distance, it lingers, it reigns. And hers, though gone, still governs every decision he makes, every word he speaks. Sometimes, he wonders if she ever thinks of him, if her heart still stirs when she hears his poetry echo through the world. Maybe she listens from afar, pretending it no longer affects her. But he knows. He knows that kind of love doesn't fade, it hides. It lives quietly beneath the surface, waiting to be remembered by a single song, a scent, a dream. He often imagines her reading his lines somewhere, realizing that each word is still about her. That even after all these years, her name still rules his heart like an unchallenged queen. The royal gardens, once their place of escape, have become his shrine of solitude. Every rose reminds him of her, delicate yet unafraid to bloom amid thorns. He walks those paths at night, the sound of his footsteps the only thing daring to disturb the silence. The guards think he seeks peace in nature, but they don't know he's chasing ghosts, fragments of her presence that still linger in the wind. He closes his eyes and swears he can feel her hand slip into his for just a heartbeat before the night steals her away again. He has been offered love again, beautiful, kind hearts that wished to heal him, but none could reach the depths she left within. It isn't that he refuses to love again, it's that his heart no longer belongs to him. It belongs to her, to the woman who walked away but never truly left. Even when he tries to open his heart, he feels her name guarding its gates, whispering softly, "No one can replace me." And he knows she's right. Some loves are not chapters, they are entire books, written once and never rewritten. And so, he lives between